case solved after more than 17 years. New DNA testing identifies a body found in the Detroit River.
It goes to show how effective it can be.
Investing in local fisheries.
And it creates millions of dollars of opportunity for tourism and commercial fisheries.
Ontario sinks millions into Wheatley and Port Dover. And lest we forget, Windsor paints a lasting memorial to lives lost.
CTV News with Stephanie Mazzotti.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on TV and radio. Stephanie is off tonight. I'm Michelle Maluske. It's a case that's been open for nearly 2 decades, but tonight LaSalle police say advances in DNA testing have finally solved the mystery of an unidentified man whose body was pulled from the Detroit River back in 2008. CTV's Chris Campbell joins us now with more details. Chris.
Yes, that's right, Michelle. It's taken 17 years, but police have identified the body of a man found in the Detroit River in August 2008 near Fighting Island. The man's body was discovered floating near the western shore of Fighting Island. At the time, investigators worked with agencies on both sides of the border and shared the story widely, but efforts to identify him failed. In 2011, a DNA profile was developed and entered into the Canadian Human Remains Index. Then, in 2025, this year, LaSalle police were authorized to compare that DNA with databases in the United States. In August, RCMP confirmed the man's identity through DNA testing. His family in the United States has been notified, and investigators say there were no signs of foul play.
It goes to show how effective it can be when we're able to access these databases and even just take a small part of DNA from the unidentified person and how we can use that and cross-reference that across different databases to come to a name and be able to put closure and say, okay, well, now we know who this finally is.
LaSalle police say the discovery gives the man's family long-awaited answers, and investigators hope it encourages other families of missing loved ones to provide DNA samples that could help close other cold cases. Michelle?
All right, thanks so much for this. Chris Campbell reporting tonight in the newsroom. The FBI says they thwarted a potential Halloween weekend terrorist attack in Michigan. FBI Director Kash Patel says arrests were made this morning in connection to an alleged violent terror plot on social media. According to 4 senior law enforcement officials familiar with the case, the FBI in Detroit has taken a small group of young individuals into custody. Authorities allege they were plotting some form of an attack with a possible reference to Halloween, but officials stress there is no current threat to the public. The case involves federal charges and arrests, but the court documents are sealed. Back here at home, in the last 2 weeks, 4 separate calls were made to 911 complaining about a silver 2005 Mercedes-Benz being driven recklessly. In every occasion, police say the driver wouldn't pull over. Investigators tracked the vehicle down, and when attempting to arrest the alleged driver, he tried to get away again. While under the arrest, police found drug paraphernalia and an airsoft handgun hidden in the man's pants. A 22-year-old is now facing driving charges, including impaired driving and failure to provide a drug screen. Meantime, a 15-year-old has been arrested and a 16-year-old turned himself in following a robbery in Walkerville. Police say 2 youths were approached by suspects demanding their clothing and other belongings. Both victims suffered minor injuries, and one was sprayed with a noxious substance. The suspects were identified through surveillance footage, and between them, they're facing 8 charges, including robbery. To London now, where the bail hearing of the man behind Creeper Hunter TV has been delayed until next week. 45-year-old Jason Nasser, seen here at a previous court hearing, was taken into custody earlier this week. Now, according to London police, he's accused of breaking his release conditions by attending a documentary about him at the Forest City Film Festival, which was also attended by some of his victims. Nasser has now been charged with criminal harassment. Back in 2023, he was convicted on several charges, including harassment, extortion, and child pornography. His bail hearing is now scheduled for Monday. Crown lawyers have indicated they will oppose Nasser's release. A house fire in LaSalle earlier this week caused about $1 million in damage. LaSalle Deputy Fire Chief Mark Segan says the fire broke out on Monday morning shortly after 12:15 at this home on Lyons Avenue. The fire is believed to have started in the garage. No one was hurt, but 3 people have been displaced. Segan says the cause of the fire remains under investigation. A $10 million investment today to upgrade infrastructure and boost the commercial fishery sector in Wheatley. It's part of a plan to bolster a $200 million industry spanning Wheatley and Port Dover. CTV's Bob Belichico was at the news conference and he joins us now.
Well, Michelle, this Lake Erie Management building behind me has been around since 1966. It's old and will eventually be replaced along with its satellite in Port Dover with a new building, with a new facility, with modern systems, equipment, and technology.
And it creates millions of dollars of opportunity for tourism and commercial fisheries.
A $10 million investment by the provincial government will see 2 older buildings demolished. This 59-year-old management facility in Wheatley and a second building in Port Dover to modernize the operation.
New infrastructure within, modernizing data systems, mechanical, everything that the team here needs to be able to really do their job to the best of their ability.
The new buildings will provide more space for field operations equipment and upgraded labs for processing samples. The upgrades will also help sustain jobs in both communities.
People that work here ensure the health and safety of both our fish populations, the quality of fish in Lake Erie. They can anticipate issues, parasites, diseases, pests, things that are gonna bother the fishery.
If you look around just where we are now, there's some incredible processing facilities here. We've got a boat that just drove by, hopefully that's got a fresh catch coming in, and it's tens of thousands of jobs here, direct and indirect, across the province.
Minister of Natural Resources Mike Harris says the Lake Erie fishery is one of the largest commercial fisheries in the world. Fish are sold across the globe, including to Asia and Europe.
The pressures that are coming from the U.S. right now, it's really important that we make sure that we open up some more of those channels. So the reinvestment in the community here will help us do that.
Harris feels there's a lot of ceiling to reach for in expanding fisheries in the Great Lakes.
Beef, pork, chicken, it's always a revered product that we are able to offer here from Ontario and from Canada. And we really intend for our fisheries sector to be able to piggyback off a lot of that.
Now, design work for the Port Dover facility is almost complete with tendering going out soon. Wheatley is about a year behind. Minister Harris says that there's no timeline for completion, but ideally, he would like to see both buildings complete as soon as possible. Michelle?
All right, thanks so much for this. Bob Belichico reporting from Wheatley tonight. Well, if you're in Windsor and looking for a thrilling Halloween stop tonight, one home has turned its front yard into a spooky spectacular that's also giving back. At 1804 Chilver Road, that's in Walkerville, Chills on Chilver is back and bigger than ever. The homeowners spending months designing each spooky scene, from a creepy circus to a witch's den. The family-friendly display also collecting donations for the Kids First Food Bank. Last year, haunting up more than 1,200 pounds of food. They're aiming even higher this Halloween. And that is where we will find CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joining us from tonight, braving the scene, braving the wind with that Halloween forecast. Hi, Gary.
Hi, Michelle. I'm prepared. I knew it was going to be cool and windy, and indeed it is. The good news part of the story for Halloween trick-or-treaters is that we're not likely to see showers, even though it's gray overhead. It is cool and breezy, though, so extra layers are recommended. A ridge of high pressure has broken down since the weekend. That means we are going to see some cloud cover, and there is a very slight risk of overnight, that is late night into early morning Saturday, light drizzle, maybe even some mist. But for the most part, tonight's just cloudy, windy, and cool, and the overnight temperatures for the weekend could be near the freezing mark. Frost risk is certainly a consideration. Let's look at the weather, and we'll talk more about details coming up.
All right. Thanks so much, Gary. We'll check in again soon. So that is our question of the day. Which holiday do you like better, Halloween or Christmas? I know what my vote is, But you can go to our website to have your own say, ctvnewswindsor.ca. Yesterday, we asked if you think there should be a regional transit service in Essex County. Out of just under 700 votes, 78% say yes. Tonight could be a historic night for Canadian baseball fans. The Toronto Blue Jays, as you no doubt know, are just one win away from capturing the World Series title as they take on the LA Dodgers in Game 6. Fans across the country, including here in Windsor, say this moment is about more than baseball. It's about Canadian pride.
We need something like this right now. We need something in Canada right now like that. For everybody, too, but for all that matters anyway.
I'm hoping that they can do it tonight, but if they can't, well, they got another shot at it. So they got 2 kicks at the can. It's been quite a while since they've won a championship, and it would be just nice to bring it back to Canada. And I think they deserve it. They're a good team, and I think they deserve it.
That's all I can think about right now. They deserve it. They're fighting for us. And I love them.
This is going to be huge for Canada, for the Jays, for everybody. I'm a Tigers fan, but today we're rooting for the Blue Jays. Everybody's cheering. It's Halloween night. Everybody's going to be gathered together. It's going to be fun.
Great answers there. And there is a watch party tonight here in Windsor down at City Hall for the game. But let's go now to Toronto, where fans are already gathering for the big game. Joining us tonight is CTV's John Venevali-Rao. John, what is the vibe like down there in downtown Toronto?
Oh, just so much excitement. You really get a sense all around the city. You see people in Blue Jays gear, and this sense of anticipation that tonight is going to be a magical night in Toronto. Everybody hoping that they clinch it tonight at this Game 6. The Jays, of course, are one win away from the World Series, but as that fan we just heard from said, if they don't win tonight, they do have another shot at it tomorrow night. But boy, hasn't the narrative of this series completely flipped? Initially, the Blue Jays were seen as the underdogs, and the defending champ Dodgers were seen as this team that was almost unbeatable. And now here we are at Game 6, and potentially the Blue Jays winning their first World Series tonight in 32 years. Now, there will be a lot of police presence down here around the Rogers Center this evening in anticipation of a potential victory and the party that will ensue afterwards. We've heard from the police that not only do they have all of their units working, but members of neighboring police forces as well have been called in to help out. But it is hoped again tonight that the Blue Jays will clinch it, will have this big party, and that it will be a peaceful and fun event for everybody tonight.
Oh, that's amazing, John. And I hope you get to catch the game as well so you can be there and witness it all for yourself.
I'm hoping so as well. I'm hoping to duck in and out. The last time they were in the World Series in 1993, I watched it on TV. I was in university. I would certainly like to see it in person tonight.
Oh, what a memory that would be, and hopefully we can check in with you again after that. Thanks so much for this. John Venevali-Rao reporting for us tonight from downtown Toronto, and go Jays. Meantime, for more than a century, generations of Windsor-Essex families have built their lives around the auto sector. And as layoffs loom and production shifts south, many of us are wondering if the legacy that built our city will still have a future for our children. Here's CTV's Adrian Gobriel.
Here we have my father in a Ford and my grandfather.
For more than a century, the auto industry has been part of the Lawton family's story.
This here was given to my grandfather. It's the 50-year anniversary coin.
It says 1903 right on there. Mm-hmm. Family history.
Family history, yep.
Kristen and Chad Lawton met working at Ford's Windsor engine plant. Their 2 sons, Brody and Caden, are the 5th generation of their family to do so. Like so many, their future is now in question.
Are you concerned that you could be the last generation of your family to work at Ford?
There's always that concern.
When my parents had started at Ford Motor Company, there was 6 plants in Windsor, and now there's obviously only 2 plants.
They all want to come back to Michigan and build cars again. You know why? Because of our tax and tariff policy.
In recent weeks, Stellantis moved assembly of the Jeep Compass from Brampton to Illinois. General Motors halted production of its electric delivery van in Ingersoll, Ontario. The livelihoods of thousands of families hang in the balance.
If we don't act now, these pressures will only grow.
With the federal budget on the horizon, Ottawa is announcing a $5 billion strategic response fund to support automotive and other sectors under siege.
We're fighting for their job.
They need to figure this out, and it has to be more than just words.
I don't think a lot of people realize just how detrimental this could turn out to be if it's not handled properly.
To ensure families can continue to put food on the table, the Lautons believe a strategic plan for Canada's auto sector is needed.
If you want to sell here, you have to build here. We have plants here right now that are sitting idle that 100% need investment. The shareholders are laughing, and the working class are not.
The stakes in this part of the country are high. With every layoff at a large auto manufacturer, it's estimated that 7 spin-off jobs are impacted as well. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Windsor, Ontario.
The switch will be flipped for 4 more red light cameras to start recording in Windsor on Monday. The newly activated cameras can be found at Provincial and Walker Road, LaBelle and Dominion, Wyandotte and Crawford Avenue, and Tecumseh Road at Paulette. This brings the total numbers of Windsor cameras to 20. The complete list of locations can be found on our website, ctvnewswindsor.ca. They will be the last red light cameras to be commissioned this year. The city says these cameras are a proven tool to reduce dangerous driving behaviors and protect pedestrians and tourists. To keep neighborhoods clean, safe, and well-maintained, the City of Windsor is also updating the Property Standards bylaw. The biggest change in regards to vacant buildings. They can no longer be boarded up. Instead, must be maintained both inside and out, and the utilities have to be kept on. New rules also address drainage, lighting, and stormwater systems, as well as stating clearer safety requirements, including smoke detectors for shared furnaces and minimum ceiling heights in basement living spaces. The city says these updates bring Windsor's rules in line with the Ontario Building Code, making enforcement more consistent. The bylaw applies to all properties, residential, commercial, vacant, and heritage. Residents are encouraged to review the new standards online. A new chief of police for Windsor is expected to be hired, but not until the end of November. You'll recall Chief Jason Belair announced in early February that he would retire effective this November, although his exact date has not been announced. The Windsor Police Services Board is using an executive search firm to aid the nationwide search for Belair's replacement. He was appointed chief at the end of November 2022 after serving as acting chief since April, following the resignation of former chief Pam Mizuno. Still ahead on Windsor's news leader, President Donald Trump says talks with Canada won't restart, despite a face-to-face meeting and an apology from Mark Carney. Meanwhile, Carney says the relationship between Canada and China has reached, quote, a turning point. And on Monday, youth crime is climbing in Windsor. Police say they're taking a new step to turn the trend around. That story is Monday on CTV News at 6. Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca. Trade talks between Canada and the U.S. are still off, according to the president. This after Trump and Carney spoke briefly in Asia, which Trump called a, quote, nice conversation. CTV's Jeremy Sharon reports.
Back on U.S. soil after meeting with world leaders in Asia, U.S. President Donald Trump confirming talks with Canada aren't restarting.
What did you talk about with Prime Minister Carney? Are you and Canada going to resume negotiations?
No. Trump and Prime Minister Mark Carney spoke during a working dinner earlier this week with other world leaders in South Korea, the first encounter between the two leaders since this Ontario government anti-tariff ad prompted Trump to halt negotiations.
I have a very good relationship. I like him a lot. But you know what they did was wrong. He was very nice. He apologized for what they did with the commercial.
On Thursday, the Prime Minister's office confirmed Trump and Carney spoke during the dinner, but didn't make mention of an apology. The Office of the Minister in charge of Canada-U.S. relations declined to comment today.
Our job is to respect their choice and deal with whoever is in the White House. And so it's up and down with Canada, but we'll just have to bear through it as we make our way in getting a trade agreement, a new trade agreement with our American neighbor.
Washington has accused Canada of being difficult to deal with in negotiations. Trump's National Economic Council director telling CNN Canada hasn't been playing fair.
So President Trump won't stand for it. He's tried to negotiate with the Canadians to get better deals for Americans, and they've been, frankly, rude and dismissive, and this is how it gets to where we are.
Carney's government has said it stands ready to resume negotiations whenever Washington is ready, and Canada's ambassador to the U.S. says lines of communication remain open. Jeremy Cheryl, CTV News, Ottawa.
Meantime, Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada's relationship with China is at a turning point after meeting with President Xi Jinping at the APEC summit, a discussion that ended with a visitation for a state visit. CTV's Judy Trin has the story.
The face-to-face hosted by China marked the first time in 8 years that a Canadian and Chinese leader met officially. Mark Carney expressed regret for lost time.
Distance is not the way to solve problems, not the way to serve our people with people-centric growth, as you have advocated. Pragmatic and constructive engagement is.
The meeting lasted 39 minutes. According to a readout from the Prime Minister's office, the leaders discussed trade issues, including agriculture, canola, seafood, and electric vehicles. There's no deal, but there's dialogue.
We now have a turning point in the relationship.
The freeze in relations began in 2018 after Canada arrested Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou at the request of the U.S. In response, China detained Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig. Then in 2022, Xi scolded former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in front of cameras. Analysts say recalibrating with China must be done carefully.
Mr. Carney will be able to have firm views on difficult issues related to human rights, religious freedom, and so on, while at the same time saying, let's discuss how we can work together.
We are going to have to play our own game with China based on our own interests and our own ambitions.
This was the second time Carney has met Xi. Previously, they met in 2016 when he was governor of the Bank of England. There will be a third meeting, too. Xi Jinping has invited Carney to China for a state visit. Judy Trin, CTV News, Gyeongju, South Korea.
Affordability is one of the big issues expected to be addressed by the Carney government in next week's budget. Tonight, we're speaking to Canadians facing rising costs on what would help them the most. CTV's Andrew Johnson has one family's unique story.
Crack it open. In the Higgins household, Mom and her helpers are making sourdough from scratch, trying to save.
The cost is, $4 or $5 a loaf. My kids go through so much bread. So much bread.
And the family of 5 is making tough choices at the grocery store.
Juice is becoming a luxury, something that I'm like, maybe we need to stick to milk and water for the kids.
Ahead of budget day, Caitlin Higgins' ask from Ottawa is a way to pay less.
Gas and groceries, those, they really drain our accounts.
The family is fortunate to own their own home in one of the most unaffordable regions of the country. In fact, 3 generations of the Higgins family live in multiple homes on what used to be one lot. Next door, Caitlin's brother-in-law Patrick is feeling the same pinch.
This morning I went out with my girlfriend. We went to a park and before we got a couple coffees and breakfast. It was like $30.
Patrick is pulling for the feds to forge a quick path toward economic peace with the U.S.
Find a way to smooth that out. And I'm not saying, appease everything that Trump has to say, which is not the answer.
Peekaboo. Peekaboo.
Patrick's parents tore down the rancher they raised 7 children in to build 4 smaller homes and help their kids. They want to see all levels of government help more people do the same.
The federal government could do a lot by giving tax breaks to people that redevelop their own property. We really want young people, not just our own kids, but other young people to have a chance to own a home on the ground where they can put down roots.
Thinking outside the box on housing, cheaper groceries and gas, and a smoother way forward with the U.S. The asks from the Higgins family in North Delta, BC. Andrew Johnson, CTV News.
Back here at home, the city is once again honoring Canada's fallen heroes with its annual Remembrance Day ceremony. The service will take place Tuesday, November 11th, starting at 10:50 at the City Hall Cenotaph, featuring local veterans, students, and community leaders. City Hall and parts of downtown Windsor will also be lit in red and white, and special displays will honor veterans throughout November. Museum Windsor will offer free admission and new exhibits celebrating Indigenous and local veterans' contributions. Meantime, just in time, a commemorative painted sidewalk has been unveiled in front of the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 255. Stretching 70 feet with Lest We Forget and soldier images at each end, the project was made possible through partnerships with the city, local businesses, and ward councillors. The Veterans Banner Project will also return to Wyandotte Street this year. Now in its 4th year, about 40 banners will be hoisted, highlighting the names and stories of local service members.
So a misconception is the Legion sells poppies. They don't. The Legion distributes poppies, and we take donations. Now, the monies that are donated through the Poppy Fund, they go right back to veterans and veteran comforts. They don't go anywhere else. So it's important for us to, if you want to remember a veteran or thank a veteran, donate to the Poppy campaign, but more importantly, wear a poppy.
Strength in the real estate sector helped Canada's main stock index close higher today, while U.S. markets also gained ground. The TSX finished up 82 points, ending the week over the 30,200. And Dow climbed about 40 points. The Nasdaq rocketed up 144. The dollar remained unchanged at about 71 cents compared to the U.S. dollar. Gold was down about $20, and oil sits at just under $61 a barrel. Creative pumpkins, giant hearts. Coming up, over $16,000 raised for local cancer care. Fall is such a great time. Meteorologist Gary Archibald is out on location tonight, and he joins me now with the Halloween forecast. Hey, Gary.
Hi, Michelle. Indeed, it's very Halloween-y around us. This beautiful home is now a little scary, but for good reasons. And trick-or-treaters will be in store for at least a non-rainy evening. That's good, but a cool and windy one. It's certainly clouded over. Temperatures hovering between 12 and 13 degrees Celsius across parts of southwestern Ontario. We're still looking at seasonal conditions, at least for this evening. We'll get down to about 8 degrees by midnight. That trend between now and the early stage of tomorrow morning, generally speaking, is seasonal. Air quality was good at 2, so nothing to really talk about there. We're looking at temperatures falling just a little bit more towards the northwestern shores of Lake Erie. Windsor, Essex, a degree cooler now than Chatham, Kent, but between 11 and 12 is the story across the entire region. So let's talk about the big picture. Some cooler air that's in place across the Canadian prairies is headed our way, and it will make a difference. We'll feel it for the mornings early Saturday and Sunday. More on that in just a moment. It's been a breezy day, as I mentioned off the top. We've seen sustained winds at around 30 kilometers per hour out of the northwest. And gusts in the 40 to 50 range is still a possibility through to about 10 or 11 p.m. tonight. Hold on to your hats and your masks for trick-or-treaters because it is windy and cool this evening. Not much to see across extreme southwestern Ontario, but there's snow in eastern Ontario and western and southwestern Quebec from that system that brought us rain over the weekend. We're in a bit of a dry slot, relatively speaking, but through the next 24 to 48 hours, if we do see a very light passing shower, it will be short-lived. That's a good news part of the story. All right, in terms of the long-range forecast, we are looking at significant cooling and early morning temperatures close to the freezing mark early pre-dawn Saturday morning and for Sunday. 7-day forecast, I'm calling for some sunshine both Saturday and Sunday. Highs between 11 and 13, then up to 14s for Monday, Tuesday. Showers on Monday, sunny break on Tuesday, then 12 and 11 degrees rather, Wednesday through to Thursday and possibly Friday. That's a look at your Enercare 7-day forecast.
Lifetime, brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
Chatham-Kent Public Health is warning about a rising number of drug poisonings or overdoses in their municipality. The number of local opioid poisonings, EMS calls, and suspected drug deaths in October have been on the rise, particularly over the last couple of weeks. Health officials say strong fentanyl mixed with xylazine, commonly referred to as tranq, is suspected to be contributing to the increasing numbers. Tranq increases the effects of opioids and can cause prolonged sedation, as well as wound and skin issues. Officials say the substances being sold may not be what individuals are expecting. More happily tonight, a local pumpkin carving fundraiser has once again turned creativity into compassion, raising thousands for the Windsor Regional Cancer Center Foundation. Over $16,000 donated this year from the annual Carve for Cancer fundraiser. The event encourages local businesses to sponsor and carve gigantic pumpkins, some weighing up to 80 pounds, into imaginative designs. During the last week of October, the pumpkins are displayed for patients and staff at the Cancer Center to admire and judge while the public votes online. This year's contribution brings the total raised to more than $93,000 over the past 8 years.
Unfortunately, my family has been touched by cancer, and that's what started this event in the first place, not only because of the pumpkins, but we chose the Windsor Cancer Center Foundation because it is really close to us. And then year after year, seeing the impact on these patients and staff here, it makes us really want to come back. And the contacts that we have, all of our participants, all of our sponsors, everyone who supports us, they come back year after year, and that really means the world to us.
We have a Halloween poll for you tonight about how many Canadians are taking part. The poll was conducted on behalf of the Retail Council of Canada, found 3/4 of households have bought candy for tonight. When it comes to putting up new decor, the poll found 3 in 10 stocked up on decorations, while just 1/4 bought a costume this year. As for carving a pumpkin, about half of respondents have jack-o'-lanterns this year. Speaking of which, after tonight, you are asked to responsibly dispose of your pumpkins. Specifically, Halloween lovers are asked not to bring old or decorated pumpkins to Point Pelee National Park or any other conservation area. Officials say the best place for that old pumpkin is in the compost bin or your new municipal green bin. Parks and conservation areas are protected natural areas for rare habitats, and IRCA says if the pumpkin gets moldy, it could make wildlife sick. Any marker or painting on the gourd can also make them ill. However, vets say pumpkin is safe as long as it is cooked, boiled, or baked. It's a very good source of fiber. Pitching perfected using AI. Coming up on Windsor's News Leader, baseball teams are turning to cutting-edge Canadian tech to decode the toughest pitchers in the game. Next month, many retired Canadians usually start packing their suitcases to head for Florida, Arizona, and other sunny U.S. destinations. But as CTV's Pat Foran reports, a new survey shows a massive drop in snowbirds planning to cross the border, choosing other vacation hotspots instead.
More Canadians are turning their backs on travel to the U.S., deciding to either stay at home or choose sunny destinations somewhere else. A survey by the Travel Health Insurance Association of Canada found that only 26% are likely to go to the U.S. That's a 37% drop from last year. The survey found of those 61 years of age and older, only 10% are likely to go to the U.S. That's a 66% drop from the year before.
We've certainly seen a move by some to get away from maybe ownership or long-term rentals in the U.S. in favor of other southern climates.
The survey found Canadians are concerned about rising travel costs, political tensions, exchange rates, and safety. The shift comes at a time when the U.S. is introducing new entry requirements, which mean Canadians staying for longer than 30 days need to register and provide their fingerprints, be photographed, and pay a $30 fee.
Having your photo taken and your fingerprints done feels really weird and wrong to us, but the reality is many countries all over the world have already been doing this for the last decade.
Travel expert Barry Choi says while travel to the U.S. is down, he believes many families will continue to go to U.S. attractions, but keep a lower profile and not post on social media. He says snowbirds that own property in the U.S. will also find it hard to stay away.
If someone's a snowbird and they own a vacation home in Florida or Arizona, of course they're going to go.
Canadians avoiding the States are also planning to spend winter months in Europe, including Portugal and Spain. Trips to Mexico and the Caribbean will also depend on the weather and the cost of travel. If American destinations cut prices, it may be enough for some to reconsider a U.S. trip.
If some of the U.S. destinations start to go on sale, maybe that easy trip over the border still prevails.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Robots are now replicating reality for Major League ball teams. A Canadian company is behind the technology, which has become an important part of preparation for each of this year's World Series finalists. With more on how it works, here's CTV's Spencer Turcotte.
On baseball's biggest stage, teams are searching for any advantage against opposing pitchers.
Trey Savage. Yeah. He throws from an extremely high release point. You've never seen him before. How did you prepare for him?
We did a lot of trajects at home, getting used to him.
The Traject Arc pitching robot, created by a pair of University of Waterloo grads, is shaking up Major League Baseball by replicating pro pitchers.
You're actually able to visualize the delivery. And not only that, the machine will move left and right to any release point.
The technology allows you to pick anywhere you want the ball to be thrown inside the strike zone. So, for example, this one's going to go up and inside to a right-handed hitter. The Mississauga-based company is working with 25 MLB teams and their affiliates. They can project directly on screen to scale the pitcher they'll be going up against while the machine emulates the exact release point.
We actually doubled down on the ability to replicate the visual cues that the batter's going to see and go to that extra level of specificity to see that hand pronation.
The advantage generally lies with the home team. At over 1,000 pounds, the Traject Arc doesn't travel with players. Both the Dodgers and Blue Jays have referenced it in recent weeks.
It's something it's tough to replicate, from video or Traject, whatever you want to call it.
The Traject team is constantly adapting.
Even rule changes like the ABS that's coming up next year, we were prepared for that. We have that integrated into our product, and the second that it's ready, we're ready for it.
The tech has even forced some rule changes of its own.
The teams are really the ones who lobbied to be able to use it in game with MLB. We had to make custom modes in the app to auto-detect that a game was happening, cut off certain features, and make sure it was fitting within the rules.
World-changing tech used in the World Series and being considered for other sports around the world. But for now, they're keeping their eye on the ball. Baseball, that is. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News.
Thousands of anime fans are expected to visit Huntington Place in downtown Detroit this weekend for YumaCon. The four-day festival transforms the home of the auto show into a world of anime, gaming, and pop culture. One of this year's biggest highlights is a visit from stars of K-pop Demon Hunter, which is a very popular show on Netflix. A Windsorite will be a judge at the cosplay competition. About 15,000 fans are expected to be at the four-day event, including some from our side of the border.
5K a day is back on 93.9
Virgin Radio.
Listen to Hannah and Johnny in the morning for your chance to win $5,000
every weekday.
5K a day.
Virgin Radio.
This is your CTV Windsor, our community calendar. You're invited to the Downtown Mission's Twisted Trivia fundraiser on Friday, November the 7th at the Moose Lodge. Tickets are $50 per person and include dinner, trivia, and prizes. See you next time on Our Community.
And it's time to check in now on what's happening now with Melanie Kentner. And Melanie, you've got more information about some local babies getting into the Halloween spirit.
Yeah, Michelle, I love this one. So the NICU team helped bring a little Halloween joy to their smallest patients and their families this week. They are dressing the babies up in some adorable costumes, including a Dalmatian, Piglet, and Crayola crayons. Hospital officials say from the creative outfits to plenty of smiles, these moments remind them how dedicated the staff members are to creating a warm and caring environment. And we've got all those cute photos online at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
I feel like a lot of people are going to click on that. I probably will too. We also have another story on there, Melanie, another great news story about a Ridgetown man, another local lottery winner.
That's right, lucky guy. It was with Pools, the sports betting ticket that he won. So Darcy Marinchuk won almost $57,000. And the way it works is you pick your sport and who you think will win each matchup, get the most correct picks, and win or share the prize pool. So he bought the ticket at the Ridgetown Gas and Car Wash on Main Street. And you can find more local news updates anytime online. And in our social spotlight, a scary trip to the rink for the Anaheim Ducks. Well, that'll wake you up. Some of the players were surprised by actors from the 17th Door horror experience when they got to the rink. The Ducks, of course, then posted the prank on social media.
Oh, that's great. I love it. It's always fun to see a prank like that on, you know, these big hockey players, right? And they can be just as scared as the rest of us. I love it. That's
yeah,
cute.
Exactly. Nothing beats a good prank.
You know that better than most people. All right, so if you see a good video online, especially if it's local, we want you to share it with us here at CTV News.
For sure, they can email it us at newsnow@bellmedia.ca or text it to 10400.
When we return, a home that's gone full ghostly galleon. If you can stand to take a tour of it, stay with us. CTV News Windsor continues after the break.
The latest news to start your day.
Interviews, conversations with the top officials, the difference makers, and personalities in Windsor, Essex.
Only on Windsor, Essex #1 morning show.
It's Mornings with Mike and Meg on AM 800.
All right, let's check in one last time on the weather with meteorologist Gary Archibald.
One more look at our 7-day forecast, courtesy of our good friends at EnerCare, calling for a chilly morning both Saturday and even more so Sunday. Frost risk for the weekend, but we'll see fair weather and sunny conditions for Saturday and even more sunshine for Sunday. Temperatures 11 and 13 respectively for daytime highs. The Monday situation is likely to be cloudier and rainier, especially in the morning and early afternoon. High of 14, slightly above seasonal now. And then sunny, a nice break Tuesday, holding at 14. Temperatures falling off Wednesday, showers, cloudy throughout the day. 12 degrees, and then 11, followed by 11. Passing showers in the morning Thursday to mostly sunny conditions on Friday.
Thanks, Gary. Well, it is Halloween night, and while there are a plethora of really creatively decorated lawns and outstanding costumes to be found here, NBC's Jeremy Ross shows us 3 examples of people who take October 31st to new heights.
Take a look at a Wisconsin dad's homemade Halloween costume crafted not just for oohs and ahs, but also a cause. Elliot Lund was tired of phoning in his yearly costumes, so this year he got super ambitious and crafted an ode not just to his hometown of Wauwatosa, but its icon Mama Rosa, a 24-foot-tall troll statue created from fully sustainable materials. Lund took a similar approach, crafting his costume almost completely from bark from his trees, sticks, and other recycled materials. 80 hours later, Lund's labor of love was ready to debut, and he took to the streets, literally trolling trick-or-treaters at an early Halloween event. He says the work was worth it to bring to life a trolley tribute that puts the eek in eco-friendly. Speaking of getting ghoulish to do some good, a teen cancer survivor in Michigan has brought back a now annual haunted house designed to help kids fighting cancer. Jackson Amick has been cancer-free since 2022 after battling leukemia and has become a renowned area Halloween hype man, hosting an annual haunted house designed not just to turn heads, but also raise money to benefit other kids fighting cancer. The fundraising Freak Fest has raised thousands, is now in its third year, and puts the caring in jump scary. Finally, a wild Wisconsin home has become the house to see this Halloween for those not just trickin' and treatin', but plunderin' and pillagin' too. The Blackstones have been doing piratey decor since 2018, but this year's is bigger than ever and more interactive as visitors can enter the ship's spooky hull located in the couple's garage. It definitely puts the yar in creative Midwestern seasonal yard decor. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
On behalf of the entire team here at CTV News Windsor on both sides of the camera, we want to thank you for supporting local news. We hope you have a fun time tonight on Halloween, and go Jays. Good night.